Welcome, Irish fans, to this week's special edition of the Jack Swarbrick Show. Tonight's program focuses on the 13th-ranked men's basketball program with our special guests, two-time National Coach of the Year Mike Brey, ACC Preseason Player of the Year Bonzie Colson, and starting point guard Matt Farrell. But first, to get things started, here is your host, Notre Dame Vice President and Director of Athletics Jack Swarbrick, and we are happy to welcome back the President of Wapu Nation, Notre Dame football offensive lineman Sam Bush.
See, I thought he said it was going to be a special show just because you were back.
I know.
I thought that's where he was headed with the introduction.
Basketball guys, all the glory, all that stuff. You know. It's fun. Hey, thanks, Jack. It's cool.
Not what we wanted last weekend, obviously. But so, what's the vibe like in practice this week? How is the bounce back happening?
Yeah, I mean, what's great about this team is we've really tried to establish an identity that kind of revolves around the word grit. That's a word that's been thrown around a lot in the Notre Dame football facilities this year. And despite the fact that last Saturday didn't really go the way we wanted it to or expected it to go, we know we got Navy this weekend. Navy's coming to us, and every year they come and they bring their best game when they play Notre Dame. So we know we're going to be in for a fight. We know the kind of game to expect, and we're just going out there every day this week looking to get better and looking to prepare to beat Navy.
Now, how preparing for Navy is such a challenge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can replicate it, but no one runs it at their speed or with their precision. What's your role in trying to help them prepare for it?
So, I mean, obviously Navy runs the triple option, which, if I had my say in it, wouldn't even be an offense in college football. I think it's almost borderline made up, but you know, it's a tough offense, and it poses a lot of challenges for defense, considering, like it says in the name, there's three options that the quarterback has to do. So, you know, I'm out there with the other guys, part of the scout offense, a lot of Wapu Nation members, and we're just out there trying to replicate the offense the best of our ability. We have Rob Regan, who ran the triple option offense as a quarterback in high school, so he's coming back out, switching from his normal position at defensive back and coming and playing a little scout offensive quarterback, which, you know, that just is a testament to knowing your role and accepting what you got to do to help this team get better. But we're going out there every day and doing what we can to try and replicate that offense. Like you said, it's not going to be the same as it's going to be on Saturday, because obviously those guys run it every week, week in, week out. So we're just doing what we can to the best of our ability to give our defense the best look.
Yeah, as I reflect back on every Navy game, there's always a period of adjustment, right? That's that first drive. I mean, you just gotta you gotta hang in there.
You know it's coming. You know that, okay, this is going to be a game where the ball is going to be kept on the ground, and still, like you said, it's that first drive or two where you got to settle in and just like, okay, here's the tone of the game. And we're looking to come out and really set that tone and kind of establish that physical sense of dominance that we've had throughout our season so far, and I'm looking forward to it.
I know the defensive watchword when you play Navy is always eye discipline.
Yep.
Right? Because they want you to look somewhere other than where you're supposed to.
Exactly.
That's a hard thing to do.
It is, and this is a very assignment-savvy defense that you have to play to be able to stop the triple option, but I have a lot of faith in our guys. I know that we can go out there and do our jobs and do them to the ability that we need to beat Navy.
It's not only Navy, it's the last game of the year, and it's senior day.
Second to last game of the year. In
last home game, sorry. Senior day at home. A lot of emotions?
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. It's going to be a bittersweet day. Going to try and take it in for everything that it's worth and really try to soak up every moment that I get. It's going to be an unbelievable experience to be able to run out to the 50 before the game and see my parents and just share in that 30 seconds or so that I'll have with them to kind of take in everything, the sights, the sounds, and the atmosphere of the best college stadium in the world. So it's going to be an emotional day, but, you know, we're going to come ready to play.
Does it feel like it's flown by for you?
I keep telling, I was on the phone with my grandma last week, and she asked me the question. She said, Sam, has it gone by as fast for you as it has for me? And I'm like, Grandmommy, I swear to God, somebody needs to give life a speeding ticket, because it's just, it's literally a blink of an eye. And I can think back, it feels like yesterday that I was meeting my freshman year roommate who I'd never seen before in my life. But it's been an unbelievable 4 years here. Probably some of the best of my life, I would consider. So, like I said, bittersweet, but we have one goal on Saturday, and that's to go out and beat Navy.
Yeah, you got to manage that emotion. I mean, you celebrate, you focus on it, but then you got to put it aside for 4 quarters and,
Exactly.
and play a tough opponent. And this team's been great about that all year. Great focus, great attention to detail, as we like to say around the program.
Yes,
and I'm sure that'll be the case this week. Let's take a break, welcome our guest, and we'll be back in a minute.
Our first guest is starting his 18th season as the head men's basketball coach at Notre Dame. At the time of our taping, Mike Brey has guided the Irish to 384 wins since coming to Notre Dame back in 2000. He has led the Irish to postseason play 16 of the previous 17 seasons, including 12 trips to the NCAA tournament. In the Big East, Coach Brey was voted Conference Coach of the Year by his peers 3 times, and 3 of his players earned Conference Player of the Year honors. Coach Brey's work in the ACC has been even more impressive. The Irish won the ACC tournament title in 2015 and returned to the title game last year. Notre Dame was also the only team in the country to make back-to-back trips to the Elite Eight in 2015 and 16. And in a few weeks, Mike will become the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. We are pleased Coach Brey is able to spend some time with us during a very busy time for him and his team.
Welcome, Coach. Thrilled to have you here.
Great to be with you, Jack.
18 seasons.
I made it 18, you know, and when I got here, I just was trying to be good enough not to get fired. You know, you're a young guy, you come out here, you're in the Big East, you're trying to figure it out. We hadn't been to the NCAA tournament in about 10 years, and but you know what, we got it going a little bit in the Big East, and we certainly have it going in the ACC, and it's been an honor to coach here. I mean, I've loved the young people that I get to work with, the assistant coaches that I've had, the support that I've had here. It's a great fit. I'm a confident teacher here at Notre Dame. It's a good fit.
Does it ever get old?
You know what? No, it hasn't yet. I mean, it really hasn't. I think you go in and out of recruiting fatigue. I never get bored or tired of getting in with my guys and practice and being around the young people, the energy. I think you can go in and out of your recruiting fatigue, and you got to really make sure you have energy for that, because when your recruiting falls off, usually the rest of it falls off.
That was not a problem with the recent signing day announcements.
It was not.
Great group of guys.
We're very excited, Jack. You know, I think our class is rated 4th on ESPN right now, whatever that means, you know, but 5 young men, and, you know, as you so well put it the other night after the game, it's basically a starting 5. We got a point guard, 2 wings, a stretch 4-man, and an undersized bruising center. And I think this summer we'll play them a little bit together, but they really complement each other. I think they have an unbelievable future in our program. Their skill set really fits how we play the game. So in June when they get here, I'm excited. And the timing is good because we'll be a little younger next year. We lose some men. We're going to go on a foreign tour. We're going to go down to the Bahamas. You get the 10 extra practices. We'll play 3 games. That will be great for a younger group.
Let's see. Maui next week, the Bahamas next year. You schedule it rough, man.
Yeah. Sounds brutal.
Yeah,
Might have to come play basketball.
The assistant coaches' wives are like they're drooling with what we're doing. Of course, Maui next week, as you mentioned, always a marquee tournament, a long-time, high-level, high-profile tournament. We open up with the host Chaminade on Monday. Michigan's on our side of the bracket. On the other side, you have Wichita State and Marquette and VCU. So, but for this group, a chance to win a championship. Last year, we won the Legends Classic early, and I thought that gave us great confidence. But you love Maui because everyone's watching during the holidays. You're on in prime time, and it can be a real statement for your program.
Yeah, it is a great opportunity. It's a great tournament. It has caused enormous challenges in the Swarbrick household, however, that I couldn't figure out how to get my wife to Maui in between the Navy game and the Stanford game. I'm in the doghouse, let me tell you.
I heard you were coming, and then you're not. I know you're paying for that.
Oh, man, I am. Absolutely.
Coach, you're talking about this team potentially has an opportunity to win a championship, but it's still really early in the season. You guys have a lot of basketball left to play. What are you telling your players right now to keep them going throughout this kind of long haul? That's
a great point because, this season, preseason, we've been talked about a lot. We were picked third in the ACC preseason poll. We're 13th in the national, the AP, and the coaches poll. Bonzie's the preseason player of the year and a first-team All-American. And so I don't want us to think we're a finished product. Even though we do have experience playing a lot of the minutes, we still can get better and methodically get better day to day. And I think that's what we got to remember here, especially before the ACC season. There's a lot to learn and a lot to get better with before we tip it off with an ACC game.
Yeah. There are characteristics of a Mike Brey team. Incredibly careful with the ball.
Yeah.
Incredibly efficient offense. Smart basketball. But one of the things that strikes me that's a hallmark of the culture is great leadership. How do you develop that? What's the game plan for nurturing leadership from year to year?
Yeah, it's a great point, Jack, and we have been so lucky with, I almost want to call it the leadership succession plan. And because we have guys staying with us 4 years, and in some cases, in Austin Torres' case, 5 years, as freshmen and sophomores, they have been able to watch a junior and senior class, specifically a senior class, really set a very good tone leadership-wise. And they've learned, they've watched, they've emulated. Bonzie and Matt Farrell watched Pat Connaughton and Jaron Grant send one heck of a tone when they were freshmen. They also know it's a very important position in our program and that they have a lot of ownership. And so it kind of nurtures itself. I don't know if you can fully develop a leader from nothing, but I think you can encourage that if they're in the right atmosphere. And our guys, and I look at a Rex Pfluger and a TJ Gibbs, which will be the next wave next season when these 4 seniors leave. They know it's important. We let them run the culture in the summer. I defer to them a lot. And what happens is a group takes ownership of itself. And when you have that in sport, I think you're really in a good position when they have ownership and kind of police themselves and coach themselves.
You're talking about, you have guys like Bonzie and Matt who come in watching guys like Pat Connaughton and Jarian who are Notre Dame legends in their own right on the basketball court. But, those guys come in as freshmen. What's, in your experience, that dynamic between those younger players and those older players and how you get them to kind of mesh and blend together and be part of a team?
I'll give you a great example, and it was between our senior captain, player of the year, Bonzie Colson, and a recruit who just happened to sign with us last week. And I think this was one of the main reasons he signed. The young man's name is Robbie Carmody. So the recruit comes to campus in June, and we have basketball camp going on, and he's going to play at night in front of the camp. And he's going to be on Bonzie Colson's team. And his father's a coach, and he recognizes for 10 minutes before the pickup game starts, Bonzie's got the kid over against the wall, and he's kind of talking to him about here's how we play and calming him down. And the father came back to me, and again, because he was a coach, I really felt it was a powerful endorsement. He said, you don't have to tell me anything about your culture, Coach. I saw it all right there. And so with DJ Harvey, who's our lone freshman, there is a lot of guys that have always helped. Our older guys know they don't look at those guys as a threat to take their minutes, which is tough. Yeah. Like human nature says, I don't want this guy getting too good. But I have been so impressed. I couldn't have been that secure as a player. Let me put it that way. My players are a lot more secure than I was about getting those young guys ready to help us win.
Couple exhibition games, couple of regular season games into the season. You gave yourself a real tough opener, going up to DePaul and helping them open their new arena, and then you come back against a very different style team What have you learned 4 games in?
You know, we love to play second halves, I can tell you that much. You know, we have been trying to figure it out the first 20 minutes, and maybe we haven't shot it well, or we've turned it over a little bit, and we haven't got into a great rhythm. The one thing we have done for both games, 40 minutes, is guarded, and this group really wants to defend. It's not something you have to sell them on. They know they're a pretty good defensive team. They play it unselfishly. They help each other. And that's because you have veteran guys that really have played a lot of reps with each other and know how to talk to each other. I think in the second halves, we have found our offensive flow. We've gotten out in transition a little bit. We've gotten to the foul line, which I think is going to be important for us to get there and make free throws. Leading the nation last year, I feel we can be right in that category again. The free throw line is a weapon, but I think where we need to grow, we're pretty good, but we got to, you know, we're better than my other teams in that if offense isn't going good, we'll still go back and guard and not be distracted or frustrated and let a bad offensive play affect our defense. We're way better in that area. We still need to keep growing in that, but I love how we get our hands on the ball, how we talk, how we rotate. We're getting more deflections. I think we'll turn people over, which has not been. We've not done that here. Our defenses have been more position defense, one shot and done. But we're starting to get some steals and get out and get some easy buckets.
Let me ask you one follow-up to that, because you use the phrase I hear you use all the time, learning to communicate with each other or communicating effectively with each other. And I got to think some people in the audience are saying,
right,
how hard is it to talk? What are the dynamics of talking on defense that you got to figure out and learn and get to know?
Great point. You know, they always say, well, young guys, they don't know what to say. They don't talk. They don't know the language. You know, and DJ Harvey's still learning our defensive language, how to talk to a big guy when he's over a ball screen and tell him to get back, you know, how to call out a switch, how to come together. And those are, you know, he's still learning the language of it. Our seniors really have it down. So, you know, before you get critical of a young guy who doesn't talk, help him with the language. Practice in breakdown situations. And again, DJ being the only freshman has some great examples of some talkers. One of our best talkers is Elijah Burns. I would tell our fans, watch Elijah Burns play. He's an unbelievable communicator. And because he's an unbelievable communicator, I think about him as our sixth man.
Coach, a little segue here, but I think I've asked this to every coach we've had on the show, so I find it fitting. I'll ask it to you. Coaching at the University of Notre Dame, such a global brand. I mean, the Block ND is recognizable instantly anywhere you go in the world. What does that mean to you to be a part of this?
I'm unbelievably honored to this day, even though it's 18 years in. I'm staggered by the power of our place always. When I'm on the road, and now that I've been here 18 years, I'm very proud to be recognized as the coach at Notre Dame when I'm in an airport or on the road. And I could be anywhere. I could be in Miami, London, and you have fans and alums come up. And, of course, my first question is, what dorm? I always want to know what dorm. And they always, Dillon Hall, they're always very proud, which I think is neat. But I'm blessed to have been here 18 years. The people I've met, my network, because – ND next to my name has opened up opportunities that I never thought would have imagined.
One thing I've noticed in the early season contest is a little change. We're not on the on the lane when we shoot free throws. We're down the other side playing cards. What's going on there?
You know, it's interesting. We started doing that a little bit this summer, and I didn't pay much attention to it when we were going live, but instead of having our guys up there in a second slot, and it's usually your big guys that are in that second slot, you know, we're making 80% of our free throws. You know, if you do miss, the chances of getting it are rare. There is a chance that a Bonzie Colson would go over somebody's back and get a dumb foul in a situation like that after being blocked out if somebody missed. But also I look at the wear and tear of Bonzie running the floor continuously. Just walk on down and get ready instead of, you know, Rex makes two, which he does most times, and having to sprint down the floor again. So, you know, it's interesting. You made a great point the other night. A lot of free throw shooters have been used to shooting, and there's guys right behind them, and they want to get a little dapped up, and our guys hit it, and everybody's back there.
Nothing.
So, you know, as long as we keep making it, I'm not going to mess with the lane. But if maybe we need company up there. But I'm hoping again. I think we'll shoot a very high clip. The other night we were 17 for 18 here, and it was a great weapon last year, and I think it'll be this year.
It'll be another challenging season in the best basketball conference in America. Saw a little of that last night. Watched Duke play a bit.
Duke with a great win for our league.
Yeah, great win for the league.
And our league again, it's the best and it's the deepest now. And the feel that the Big East had when we left, and it was 9-10 and that 1 year 11 NCAA bids. We have that depth now, and certainly our repeat opponents. We've got to repeat North Carolina. Just our road games this year, non-league and league. Of course, we start on the road at DePaul. We've got Michigan State on the road here in a little bit. We've got Indiana and Indianapolis. We're at Carolina. We're at Duke. We're at Virginia. So, the road challenges are amazing. And but you know what? I'm excited about this group going through it. We have great leadership. We have great poise. Like last year, we went 5-0 to start and then lost 5 out of 6. But when you have good leadership and you have solid guys, they'll hang in there. And we're going to go through some tough stuff because our league is just too good.
What's that mentality you're trying to instill in your team, considering you have such a tough road schedule this year? And, I mean, like you said, some of those opponents are not easy places to go into and win basketball games. So what are you trying to get your team to think about?
I think the big picture of that, we are going to take some punches. The interesting vibe about this group is they want it so bad individually, but certainly more as a group, that they really put so much pressure and get so disappointed. And I'm going to have to keep them loose. I'm not going to have to get on anybody if they make a mistake. They get on themselves too hard. Yeah. I'm trying to get guys to get on to the next play when they make a mistake or it's a bad foul and not worry about stuff. There's a lot of intensity of wanting it bad. I think I'm just going to remember, fellas, it's a long road. We're going to take a couple punches. It's how we bounce back. It's how we get on to the next play. We talk about a power clap when we make a mistake instead of body language like, get on back. So we actually practice it as a group in the locker room before we go out.
That's great. We talked a little bit about the road challenges of this year and having coming off a weekend at a very interesting venue with the football team. It just caused me to think, in your career, where's the toughest place to play that you've been?
Obviously Cameron has an electricity and an energy in the building that's, really up there. The Carrier Dome is such a unique place and setting that it becomes a little difficult at times. I'd say, back when I playing at Cole Fieldhouse, when I was an assistant at Duke, Maryland used to really have it going there. Virginia now has a great home atmosphere. They've really got it going. So, there's a lot of course, playing in Indianapolis against the Hoosiers, it'll be all crimson and cream that night. We know how that goes.
Yep. Who set that up
down
anyway?
There. I'm very interested. Yeah, I know. I'm very interested to see the Michigan State atmosphere. I've never been in it, but it looks fabulous. And I'll tell you who's got a great atmosphere is us.
Yeah,
our home fans and our students, our six-man, when we get into some of that ACC stuff, they have been there for us, and I can't thank them enough.
Let's take a quick break and come back for a little bit more with Mike. I want to talk about what's going on in the landscape of college basketball.
Yep.
Expect a great one tonight. This crowd is electrified. Strong drive and one. He'll be at the line. Have not been able to stop the drive. Bouncing in the lane to Rex Luger. The two-handed jam. Oh, Colson. Are you serious, Bonzie? Bonzie, are you serious? They love him at the Golden Dome.
Back to the Martin Media Center here with Coach Brey and my co-host Sam Bush. Coach, interesting off-season for college basketball. A lot of attention, not much of it positive, especially with the federal investigation coming out of the Southern District of New York, the federal prosecutor's office there. What's your take on the environment right now?
Well, there's no question embarrassing times for our sport and our profession. I think as coaches, we all feel a little stained by it. I think in the big picture of things, what we've all tried to realize is we can really maybe fix some things that we were faking, for a while and maybe not being able to pay attention to it. Obviously, with the federal government involved, there's some things that can happen that, the NCAA just couldn't get done. And I love the fact that we've got a lot of people putting their heads together. Father John Jenkins is going to be on that task force that meets to talk about it. And you and I and the three of us have talked about these issues. But, we do have some issues out there. I think, again, I think the majority of college coaches are doing things the right way and working with young people and getting them better and making them more confident and teaching. But we do have some issues. I think the non-scholastic scene is something we have to try and address, when they get away from their high school situation and their shoe company sponsored team. I think there'll be a lot of talk in that area and what we know of our non-scholastic recruiting calendar now, it's not going to be the same. We know that in 2019. The one and done rule, and again, that's not a whole lot of kids, right. but I think that if we could get the phenoms can go out of high school. If you're good enough, go do what you got to do. But if we get them, if we could get them for 2 years, I think 3 is a long shot. But if you could get them for 2 years on campus, you can really help them academically and educationally. It's not a fake out, So, and it sounds to me that the NBA is going to be in these meetings and listening, and I hope they help us because we've provided a heck of a service for them, and they don't do much back for us. So, I would hope we can move some things there. One of the things that I think we have to think about, like undergraduate college baseball players and hockey players. Can there be some representation, an advisor / agent to help families? Because what's happening is many of these young kids have had someone helping them and their family when they're 15. And then the college goes in to recruit them, and then it gets to be a tricky dynamic. And is the young man even an amateur anymore? A lot of things to discuss, and you and I have talked a lot about it, and I'm very interested to hear the feedback from Father John after the first meeting this week.
You've been very involved in the Coaches Association. What role can the coaches and its association play in all this?
Yeah, we have to take a leading role in this. There's no question. And, by way of Danny Gavin, as a matter of fact, we've put an ad hoc committee together of our Coaches Association. I got recruited for that over the weekend, and gladly so. Mike Slive is going to be involved in it. But, we have to be able to speak to this group and give our thoughts and ideas. If no one's in, I have a feeling some of us may be invited in at the end of the day, right, which would be great. But we really have to take a lead role in this, and we have to do some tough things. We have to make some tough decisions in the non-scholastic scene as a coaches association, because if we should do it now, because if not, it's going to be told to us, here's how you do it. And the summer is something I just think July can be different. I've really harped on that, and we have another conference call this week, and I'll get back on my train with that, and maybe we can move that thing and change the dynamic of July.
Is it just unrealistic to think we can reconnect this thing to high school basketball again?
You make a great point. It's Jack. On our call last week, we have the chair of the high school federation on our NABC board, and he interrupted all of us, which was great. He usually doesn't say much. All the big mouth coaches are talking all the time. And he said, fellas, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for you guys. Somebody said, what about high school summer leagues? And that's how I first started recruiting, when I was at Delaware and when I was an assistant. And, I think high school coaches are poised to help us some in this July period or the April period, which has been taken away from them. So I'm encouraged by because high school coaches take off the summer, not good ones. They don't take off the summer. They work with their kids. They want to have more with their kids. So I'm glad you brought that up, Jack, because I think we have something here, and we could spin it back that way.
You mentioned the 2 years. certainly a better situation. It puts you within shouting distance of a degree, right? Which is the goal here. 3 years, the baseball rule might be even better. Beyond sort of the role the NBA plays in that, how do we create an environment where kids want to be here more? And I think this goes to both this issue of one and done, but also the transfer issue that we're dealing with, where over 700 Division I basketball players transferred last year.
Yeah, we have, it's funny how that was the epidemic that was always talked about in our board meetings. That sure has been moved to the back burner once the FBI got involved. But, I think you brought a great point up when we were discussing this about some time of lifetime education, a guarantee to young people that would leave us or leave early, being able to come back. The transfer thing is really tricky. We played a team in Mount St. Mary's the other night who basically lost 2 starting players to Texas and Miami. And it's just become, if you're coaching at that level, how do you keep those guys? How are you able to? I don't know the answer to that. All I know is if I was coaching at the University of Delaware now, I probably would have lost 2 of my really good players. And if I lost them when they were young, I probably wouldn't have gotten the Notre Dame job. It's, it's just an interesting, the transfer thing. Some of it too is creating the culture on your campus. We do have some responsibility. I think as coaches we've complained and we want rules, and I think back to Vic Bubas's great line, the great coach from Duke in the 60s, you got to get them, you got to keep them, you got to coach them. It's my job to show a Matt Farrell when he's thinking about transferring at the end of his sophomore year, that line of communication with family and him, that there's a plan for you. And so I do think coaches have to take a little more responsibility on the transfer issue.
I was just going to ask, you hit on it a little bit there, but personally, what are kind of those preemptive measures that you can get to really try to ensure that a guy stays with you for as long as possible? I
think developing relationships, and I'm so lucky. I mean, you play football. I don't know how the coach can get to know 100 guys. I got 13 guys. I get to know them like my sons. I really do. I know their body language. After being with them 6 months, I know what makes them tick. I know when they're disappointed. I think I've got a pretty good feel for them. And I think the head coach's relationship and communication with a young person, those guys that aren't playing, a lot of times the head coach maybe won't communicate with them as much. They're playing on the second unit, and you're maybe not paying attention to the second unit when you get into the ACC. But, to steal time and meet them for breakfast in the dining hall and, talk to them a little bit about the last 2 days of practice and say, I'm not sure if hey, be ready, but, what you did, just so they feel there's a line of communication. And that's, again, I love about my sport. I don't have too many guys to keep track of.
Mike, can't thank you enough. These are always such fascinating segments as you reflect on your sport and your program. We have been very lucky for 18 years. Hope there's a whole bunch of years left. Jack Nolan put the pressure on you in the opener there, saying very soon you'd be the winning coach. We all know you're going to get there.
He's unbelievable.
He put a very soon in there.
He's unbelievable. The countdown is on, but
he's always trying to predict the future somewhere or another.
Well, it's great to be with you guys, and we're excited about heading to Maui, and we're going to see if we can bring home a championship.
We'd love that.
With?
Yeah, absolutely. I need a bodyguard out there.
I got you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. We'll be back in a minute.
Our next guests are the leaders of a Notre Dame team picked to finish third in the ACC this season. Bonzie Colson is the preseason player of the year. At just 6'6", Colson led the ACC in rebounding last season. He also led the conference in double-doubles, finishing the season with 20. He was a consensus third-team All-American last season and begins this season as a consensus first-team All-American. He is also the Blue Ribbon Yearbook preseason National Player of the year. He's off to a great start this season. He's recorded double-doubles in each of his first 2 games, averaging 22.5 points and 12 rebounds per game. Matt Farrell had to wait nearly 2 seasons before becoming a starter for the Irish, but as soon as he was given an opportunity, he shined. Matt's first 4 starts were in the 2016 NCAA tournament when he helped the Irish advance to their second straight Elite Eight. Last season, Farrell led the Irish to the Legends Classic Championship in Brooklyn and was named the tournament's MVP. One of his signature moments was his diving steal and assist to T.J. Gibbs to wrap up a win at Virginia Tech. He finished the season with a 14.1 points per game scoring average and 11.5 point improvement from his sophomore season, one of the best in ACC history. He is the man Mike Brey calls the ultimate quarterback for the Irish system. He's averaging 14 points and 3.5 assists per game this season. And we think it's great they were able to carve out some time before playing a game on Thursday night and heading out to Maui.
Guys, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
As those very elaborate and flattering introductions suggested, you guys are here during a period of time where the trajectory of the program has fundamentally changed, right? You are now the hunted instead of the hunter in a sense. I know that must be an enormous source of pride, but does it make you feel different? How do you approach the season knowing that's the position you're in?
Well, I think it just shows that, all the hard work we put in over the past, couple of years is showing, who we are as a team. And I think that it continues to motivate us. As a team, we're staying hungry and humble, and just a little bit more juice for us to play with.
Yeah, I think, when we got here our freshman year, a lot of people talk about the culture. They talk about it all the time, and I think it really is important, especially here. Since freshman year, we've been a part of it, something that's been really good. We got guys that want to play for each other, that want to win for each other, and I think that makes a big difference.
Had you guys played with or against each other at any point before you got here?
Nope.
No, we always talk about it. We had no idea who each other were.
Yeah.
Not that far away from each other, though, right?
Yeah. No idea.
In the world of pre-college basketball, it's pretty interesting that you didn't run into each other. What's the personality? You guys are the leaders now. What's the personality of this team like this year? Every team's a little different.
Yeah, I say our personality is just a team that's, really hungry to make it far and, win as many games as possible. We have a lot of different lamps that we can play with this year. We're just a team that's growing. We're not a finished product, as we know, but we're learning each day. We're battling in practice, going at it, and we're growing. We're getting better, and I think that just shows who we are as a team.
Yeah, we do have a lot of different pieces that we're still trying to figure out. We know it's a process. We're going to take it step by step, day by day, and I think something big for this year is our defense. That's what we want to focus on this year. We think if we can get stops, and that will get us going on the offensive end.
You mentioned a lot of different pieces, and that's been one of the interesting things to watch as the season gets going, right? The sort of what that rotation will look like. We all know Coach tends to shorten the rotation as we get a little further into the season, but sometimes we're really big. You bring in Johnny Mooney, you bring in Martin. Sometimes we're smaller. DJ's playing an important role. How do you figure out, as the point guard, how to use guys, how you can get them in the best spot for them?
Yeah, when we have Mooney in the game, he's our 5, and we have Bonzie at the 4. We can really stretch you out. Mooney can shoot the 3 really well, and then we can go small with DJ, and DJ's been playing really well for a freshman. We love the minutes he's given us. He's playing like a veteran. He had a great game against DePaul, but it's whoever's out there. It's about knowing the personnel. It's about knowing what to call. If we got mismatches, you try to get Bonzie down low in the post. So it's really just whoever's out there and figuring out we got guys that know how to play. It's something that we've always had here, and guys that have high IQ.
Does that knowledge come through the summer and just through practices of saying, okay, this guy likes to get the ball here, or this play works for this guy?
Yeah, I think so. I think we take the summer really seriously. This program has always done that. I think that's a time for the team to develop, more about each other, know more about each other, the way people play, and I think for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, the summer's a time where Coach Brey gives us the keys for the captains to kind of run the program, and that's when we tell the freshmen and we teach the freshmen or the young guys what our culture is, and we start to learn different lamps, how to play with each other. We start to learn how to play with new guys, and it's a great opportunity for us in the summertime to get better as a team.
You guys mentioned defense. Coach Brey mentioned it in his segment. It's sort of a defining element of this team. He called it maybe the best defensive team he's had. Why has that emerged as such an important part of this team's dynamic?
I think we just use our athleticism, our quickness to our advantage on the defensive end. We have a lot of guys who can, quick and can get steals and, can get loose balls. And, when we go out there and rebound and run and get our stuff going offensively, I think that's when, when we're special. But a lot of guys are just hungry on that. And Coach Brey makes it an emphasis for our team to get kills, which is 3 stops. And, we try to do that as best as we can because it gets us going offensively.
When I think of you two guys, I think of guys who play with a real edge. You love it, right? I mean, you love the competition. You love when you get the competition in a position where you're defeating them or have defeated them on a play or whatever it is. Have you always been that way, both of you? Is that just part of your DNA, or has it emerged over time?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that edge and that chip is just how I was raised, and same thing with Matt. Just must be that East Coast that East Coast swagger right there. It's just
both
how
of
we
our
play.
dads are coaches. Growing up, they just kind of teach you that you don't get that time back. Especially our senior year, we're not getting these games back, so you got to give it everything you have, and you got to do it every time you're on the floor.
Exactly.
Matt, is the beard going to keep going? Is it we going for the Houston Astro playoff look, or what's the strategy going to be?
I'm not sure. I don't really have a plan. My mom likes it, but my dad hates it. So I'm trying to figure it out. But I'm getting ready for the winter, so we'll see where it takes me.
I think you should cut it. I like the clean look.
Trim
I
it,
think you should go back.
or
trim it. Yeah, do something.
Get rid of it.
I'll never trim it. If I'm going to cut it, I got to cut it all off.
That's him, though.
It is him, absolutely. So ask Coach Brey the same question, but you're sort of 4 games into it, 2 exhibitions, 2 really interesting first games, very different style teams, and one in an environment that was especially tough. What have you learned about yourselves and your teammates so far?
Yeah, I think it was a great start for us to play DePaul at DePaul. It was a great opportunity to show who we are. During the away games, we have a lot of away games tough within our schedule. So to get that win kind of shows us, we have that road dog mentality back. But we're just getting started. We're just excited to play and to get things going, and we're hungry.
Yeah, that was a really good win for us. On the road, opening up a new arena. That could be a resume win for us. DePaul's a good team. The Big East can be a strong conference, but just to get things going and to play in that road atmosphere and get DJ in there, get those young guys in that atmosphere. But the way we communicated during that game was something that we really took pride in, and the way we're going to communicate all year is something we want to communicate with.
This year, most of the time, you're on the floor with TJ. How do you guys sort of work together? What's everybody says a 1 and a 2, but what's the rhythm between the two of you?
It's a lot of fun playing with him. Coach Brey's done that. Two point guards kind of line up for a little bit now, but he's another strong right hand driver. He can get in the lane. He can make plays, and that gives me an opportunity to be off the ball. I can kind of help my own shot in different spots, but he's just another guy that can get in the lane and make plays and can really stretch you out.
And Bond's one of the guys that stood out early in the season as Rex. He's sort of all over the floor. He's a real defensive presence. I'm amazed how many times he touches the ball in the course of a game. He may not get the full deflection of the steal, but he's very active in that way. What role does he play for you?
He's been huge, and we give him a lot of credit each game because he goes out there and guards the best offensive player each game, and they're going through all these screens and all this crazy movement, and he's staying there, and he's just been staying patient and trusting his routes. But on the offensive end, he's been doing well too. Shooting the shot with confidence, and he's just playing within himself. And he knew coming in this year that he's going to have a big role, and he's taken to his own. He's playing really well. He's defending, and we're going to need that out of him every game.
Now I have no idea why, but against Mount St. Mary's, they played you straight up.
Yeah,
we probably won't see that again this year.
Exactly. Yeah.
You must have really enjoyed that.
Yeah, every game I kind of the coaches kind of tell me that a lot of teams are going to double, so I'm just prepared for the double, every time. But just got to be ready for whatever matchups they give you, and Matt Farrell and the guards, and they put me in great situations for me to do my thing. But if they double, I can kick it out, dish it to these guys to shoot the ball, and if not, I can go to work and do my thing. But within the offense, we have a lot of good movement.
You got a game before then, but then you'll be heading out to Maui, one of the really legendary early season tournaments. An interesting dynamic. You're playing small venues, and before intimate crowds, but it's everybody's watching it sort of around the country. How do you prepare for that? I mean, it's a little different than regular season. I guess it echoes postseason a little bit, right? The tournament nature of it. But how do you prepare for it?
We like to say, treat every game as an ACC game or as an ACC opponent. So we got to go down there with that mindset. We're going to be playing 3 really good teams down there. Right. So that's what we got to do. We got to go down there with that same mindset, the same mindset we always have. Be confident, play Notre Dame basketball, stick to what we know, and it should be a fun atmosphere down there. And we're just going to go down there and have fun and just play hard.
Last year you won this time of year, this tournament that you were in, different location, different place, but an early season tournament. What kind of energy or momentum did that provide to you?
Yeah, I think that was great. Playing, it was a Legends Classic. I think that was great for us to, play in a away atmosphere and play a lot of teams who were really good. And, just kind of shows who we are as a team. We can play in different atmospheres, playing games, when, game situations are on the line and who are we going to be. And we came to play, and it's another opportunity, this coming weekend, playing in Maui. It's going to be a fun atmosphere. There's going to be a lot of fans. So staying in character, stick with what we do on both sides of the floor, and hopefully come out and, bring a trophy back to South Bend.
Little longer flight.
Yeah, that's something that.
Not looking forward to the
flight. Yeah, I don't like flights. That turbulence. Hopefully, it's smooth because I don't mess with turbulence. But a lot of movies going to be downloaded for us as a team.
Yeah, the movies will keep you going. You're lucky you weren't with us flying out of Miami this past weekend. That's all I'll say. If you're not a very secure flyer, we'll stay away from the details. But that one was a little bit challenging. You come back and you really, this schedule, going to Michigan State, IU in Indianapolis, and then, of course, the unbelievable ACC schedule that you have. I know you don't look ahead. I know it's whatever game is next. But this is where you're going to build the mettle of the team for postseason, don't you think?
Yeah, we understand we have a lot of tough away games, but it goes back to how we start the season. We start a great start having an away game, and we respect all the teams we're playing, but we're excited just to play and show who we are and to get to battle in those tough games.
Yeah. One of the things you guys, I think, have really part of your legacy here is going to be, Mike mentioned it, but our home court advantage has grown while you've been here. The energy of the place is just gotten better, I think, in each of the past couple of years at least. Do you feel it when you play?
Yeah, I think we feed off their energy. I'm always looking at the crowd, telling them get loud, doing things like that. We feed off the energy, and we love it. We are the best fans in the country, and hearing them scream just motivates us to play harder, and we love that.
Other than home venues, other than here, give me a venue you like to shoot in. Another arena you've been in that you just really, for whatever reason, the background, the rims, whatever it is.
What do you say, Matt? I like playing with teams with the Nike ball. I've been playing with a Nike ball, growing up. So Duke, Syracuse, all those type of arenas, North Carolina, that Nike ball and that arenas, they go crazy. But we feed off their energy as well. We're playing games and Cameron Crazies are going wild, and the Tar Heroes fans, they're going crazy. We feed off that, and it's just a great opportunity for us to play those games and being a basketball fan, all of us playing the game that we love and playing those games where so legendary is great for us.
Yeah, those road atmospheres are something we really like to play in. We have a lot of fun playing in those atmospheres, and we're emotional guys, so we like to get the crowd involved and we like to have fun. So,
you mentioned something that I think most fans sort of don't focus on at all, but the ball changes, right?
Yeah.
So we're Wilson, that's the NCAA tournament ball, so it makes a lot of sense to do that. But you go to different places, you get a different ball. I assume you practice with all of them here.
Yeah, we do. So I think down in Maui we're going to be using the Adidas ball. Yeah. So we have a couple of those in the locker room, and guys kind of been using them or dribbling, getting used to them, and we'll start practicing with them after our game. But it is it's tough sometimes. Yeah. You go into a different arena and you're playing with a different ball. You got to get a feel for it. But when it comes down to it, it's a ball. So you got to shoot it. You got to pass it. You got to score it.
You ever had any deflate gate issues? You ever have the ref hand the ball to you before a game for a check, and you say there's not enough air in this thing?
No.
No.
But, yeah.
No. It takes us some time, when we first get them to get used to them. But we got to hoop. You got to play with them no matter what the ball is.
They seem to go in no matter what ball they give you guys. So
Nike just changed their ball too. So I like their new Nike ball. So
I saw that. I was actually Rex was shooting with it the other night when I was out there, and I was checking it out. It's very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah,
feel.
It kind of looks like a golf ball. It has like
it does.
Like a bigger golf ball. Yeah.
So,
Now, last year, you were without fingers by the end of the year, given the amount of time you play with the ball and how much you shoot. Is there anything you can do about that? You'd literally worn your fingers down to the nub.
yeah, sometimes my fingers get really dry, and I'm always seeing Skip, and sometimes I got to wear gloves at night, and I got to put lotion in the gloves, and it's not fun, but it is what it is. But Skip's always there helping me out with that. But yeah, towards the end of the season, they get a little ripped up.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I hope it's a long season. I hope it goes deep into March, because what you guys have built is such a great legacy for you guys, but the impact you've had on the program. I can't thank you enough for being with us tonight. Good luck in your journey, and especially on the trip out to Maui. I hope the movies are good ones.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, we'll be back in a minute. Go Irish.
Philly is sold out tonight.
The anticipation is building.
We're set for the opening tip, and we are underway here in Notre Dame.
Tip, it goes to Young. Her jumper goes.
Jackie Young is going to be a star.
One word that sums up this Notre Dame team pretty well, and that is dominant.
Marina Mabry fires a three. Catherine Westfeld up over the rim and in.
That's Catherine Westfeld.
Enrique fires up the three. Got it. Outstanding.
If you're not here, you're missing it.
Welcome back. We started this show talking about time flying by, and this show's flown by. Some great guests. Real quick recap of what's going on. This is an exciting time because it's postseason tourney for the fall sports. Although I want to start by talking about hockey. Got off to a great start in the Big Ten. Two sweeps, back-to-back sweeps. Penn State most recently with a 5-3 and 1-0 win. They play RPI this weekend, and then they'll be with Minnesota. Volleyball, really big. Two sweeps, Virginia Tech and Virginia. They play North Carolina and North Carolina State this week. We'd love for folks to come out and watch them because they're trying to get into the NCAA tournament, and they need that support. What's soccer doing?
Yeah, so women's soccer opened up the NCAA tournament last weekend with a awesome win over IUPUI, and they're going up against the number 2 overall seed of Texas A&M this upcoming Friday. Men's soccer just got their first ranking for the NCAA tournament. They are coming in at number 12, and they're going to be taking on Wisconsin UIC on Sunday at Alumni Stadium.
I likewise hope we can get fans there. It's an exciting time of year for sports when you're wrapping up the fall and you're in the midst of the winter. An awful lot going on. As I said, it's been a great show. Next week, as basketball jets out to Maui, you jet out to Palo Alto. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to do a best of show because I hope it's all music by Sam Bush. But we've had a lot of great content in our first quarter of the year here. We'll use the holiday to do a best of show. And then we'll be back at you the following week where we'll reflect on a regular season that's wrapped up and a little sense of where we're headed after there.
Yes, sir.
Until then, thanks for being with us, and go Irish.
Go Irish.